now? Which agencies, which working groups? What's going on now?
This is one thing that's unfortunately through practice, but also through rehearsal, will be something that, given the enormity of this, will be very smooth. All of the law enforcement agencies, the intelligence agencies, are immediately linked when this happens over secure networks. The command centers have all been activated, and they're moving back and forth. This is one thing that will be operating rather smoothly right now with good communications.
Okay, so a lot of discussions obviously going on right now trying to coordinate the response, but from the intelligence community, FBI, and law enforcement.
Yeah, but the interesting challenge here is that normally when you have something like this, you have an incident. Right now, we apparently may have a series of unfolding incidents or things that may be happening, so you have not only investigative and intelligence work, but you also have right now everybody on high alert in a preventive mode, so this is a little unusual.
Skip, could you hang with us just for 1 second? We want to go to our reporter who is outside the Pentagon right now. She has an eyewitness. If you'll stay with us, Skip Brandon, formerly of the FBI. Audrey Barnes, go ahead outside the Pentagon.
Coming in to the Pentagon this morning, identify yourself and tell us what you saw.
My name is Ed Hudson. I was coming to work at the Navy Annex. I was passing by Fort Myer, and I saw a large airliner-sized plane, roughly a 767-size airliner. Very deep descent, approaching the Pentagon. As I didn't actually see the impact, but I did see, hear the blast, and saw the smoke rising from the crash later. And this was, just shortly after hearing the news about the crashes at the World Trade Towers.
Now, it did not look like that plane tried to avoid the Pentagon at all?
No, it seemed deliberate. It was outside the normal flight patterns for a national airport.
I've seen debris 20 feet from where we're standing. Have you seen debris also?
I did.
Describe what you've seen over there.
It just seemed like parts of the landing carriage or possibly the engines.
What are they telling employees? Within the last, I should tell everybody, within the last 10 minutes or so, they started a second evacuation of the Pentagon area. We're told that there's another aircraft that's been hijacked, and it's 20 minutes outside Washington, D.C. Emergency vehicle crews with bullhorns have been coming through this area telling everybody to get back. Is that what your understanding is as well?
Exactly.
Okay, now what about employees? Have you guys been given any information about what you should do?
Just told us to go home.
This is shocking and devastating for everybody.
It is. I think it's time that the American public realize that we are vulnerable. We're not in a situation such as World War II where we had two oceans to protect us.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ed Hudson was an eyewitness to that plane coming in this morning. He said it looked like a 767 commercial airliner headed right for the Pentagon, did not try to avoid the building at all, and within seconds, a huge explosion and then thick black smoke. And as you can see, the fire is still now up. It's not out here on the Pentagon grounds. Still lots and lots of smoke, and occasionally you can see a flare-up of flames here on the Pentagon grounds.
All right. Audrey, we need to interrupt you right now because of pressing developments taking place in New York where things have gotten even worse. And there you see the Twin Towers. Both towers now have apparently collapsed from the weight of the terrorist attacks mounted upon them about an hour and a half ago. So both towers, this is a scene from New York City, and you see the smoke enveloping lower Manhattan there. Both towers have now apparently collapsed.
Have now collapsed. Also, just want to bring you another local update. Prince George's County is calling in all of its fire and EMS workers. It's saying report to duty stations immediately, regardless of your schedule. So if you work for Prince George's County Fire or EMS, you are asked to report immediately, no matter what your schedule is today. Also, do want to emphasize once again, I think this is really the first definitive thing that witness that Audrey had, saying that indeed it was a large aircraft that crashed into the Pentagon there. Yes.
Dan Nichols, I understand, of the U.S. Capitol Police, you are still with us? Skip Brandon, rather, formerly of the FBI. Skip, I want to ask you specifically about what has been going on with the method of delivering these attacks, the use of hijacked commercial aircraft. Skip, I can't remember the last time a U.S. commercial aircraft was hijacked, let alone several planes in one day in the space of several hours.
No, this is extraordinary, and it has been years and years since a plane has been hijacked. It will be, well, this is incredible because you do get lax after a while, but actually I travel a lot by air, and our security is pretty good. I can't imagine how this happened, but it also goes right back to what I said. It points to extraordinary planning and patience to pull something like this off.
Yeah, talk about some of the measures that that take place at U.S. airports to try to prevent hijacks in terms of screening of personnel. What should have been in place here?
We don't know at this point. The screening does seem to be good. It's pretty effective. I've been stopped many times, as have any frequent travelers, and had people go through it. It crosses my mind. A place I'd be looking would be at airport workers, people who are hired to do things like clean planes, things like this. They get behind the scenes. Is there a weakness there? I don't know, but that's a possibility.
So obviously, just give us some of the questions then that the investigators will be looking at. Let's just pose the questions. Put them out there.
Okay, right now, of course, the biggest thing is looking internationally, is trying to pull in intelligence, and I do say internationally because this would be...
Skip, hold that thought, because what we're seeing now is this horrific scene of, I believe, the second of the World Trade Center towers collapsing. I don't know if you can see it where you are. Just an unbelievable occurrence, a horrific
just want to let viewers know what they were seeing.
This is
there.
tape,
This is tape. Yeah, this
from
is
New York City,
from New York
the second World Trade Center collapse.
And believe me, as we switch back and forth, we will try to put locators up to keep you from being confused, but we just wanted to show you that very dramatic video of what happened there in New York City.
Skip, even things such as locking the cabin doors, you can't get into a cockpit door in a commercial jetliner.
You know, you shouldn't be able to, but I've noticed them open.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. But then, and obviously we don't know the scenario involved. We don't know if these were rogue pilots or pilots with guns at their head, but it seems incredible that these planes, sophisticated airlines, these are the most modern generation of airliners flown by commercial pilots today, could be flown on apparent suicide missions. You know, how could this, is there a chance that they slipped pilots on, suicide pilots, trained in these sophisticated aircraft?
This is, you know, this is one of the questions that will be raised. It strikes me as more likely that somebody got access to various cockpits and then with basically no training just took the pilots out when they got close. You're hijacked, fly me to Washington, and then when you get close you just aim for the Pentagon. It's not hard to see. Same with the Twin Towers.
And there, we're seeing another view. If we could just lose our banner on the lower third, because I think it's important to see the Statue of Liberty there.
Yes.
Ironic on this horrific day as you see smoke billowing over lower Manhattan, where up until a short while ago, the 210-story World Trade Center towers stood.
Right. Well, Liberty certainly weeps today. No question about that.
But still standing.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Skip, in terms of what's going to go on in terms of a military response today, obviously we don't know who to respond to. What's going to be happening? We're assuming U.S. forces worldwide on their highest state of alert and readiness immediately. What will go on beyond that?
Immediately, it's going to be an awful lot of review and collection of intelligence and intense pushing of assets around, what we call assets around the world, people who might have information. That's what the major effort will be. Along with, and I say unusually enough, we usually have these and nothing else is happening right now. Everybody's on a highest alert, and there'll be a lot of defensive actions.
Skip Brandon, former FBI special agent, stand by with us. We're going to go back to our Audrey Barnes, who is on the scene there near the Pentagon. Audrey, give us an update.
The update is police are here right in front of the Pentagon, not letting people get any further than this point. They're saying that another plane has been hijacked, and at this point it is now 10 minutes outside Washington, D.C., and police are telling me reports are that plane may be headed to the district, and they're speculating that it may actually be headed back here to the Pentagon. All Pentagon employees have been evacuated from the area. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been ushered across the bridge and out of harm's way. As you can see, there are perhaps 50 different emergency vehicles still on the scene here. The fire is not out. Eyewitnesses tell us it looked like a 767 commercial aircraft that crashed into the Pentagon building this morning. There are bits of debris of that plane scattered across 27 across the lawn of the Pentagon into the woods. A couple of joggers said they even saw debris.
Audrey, let me break in. Let's
area.
Focus for a second on this developing situation. Help us sort out who is saying what, who is saying that another plane's been hijacked. Just sort that out.
Here, there's
Take your time.
Excuse me, officer. Can we talk to you for a second? That officer is the car just tried to sneak by here and is headed to the Pentagon building, and they're telling everybody, let's see if I can get him to update us. on exactly what the situation is here. Officer, we want to just find out what the situation is. We're told another aircraft is coming towards the Pentagon.
We have another threat, ma'am. That's all I can say.
Now, which agencies, which working groups, what's going on now?
This is one thing that's unfortunately through practice, but also through rehearsal, will be something that, given the enormity of this, will be very smooth. All of the law enforcement agencies, the intelligence agencies you also have right now, everybody on high alert in a preventive mode. So this is a little unusual.
Skip, could you hang with us just for 1 second? We want to go to our reporter who is outside the Pentagon right now. She has an eyewitness. If you'll stay with us, Skip Rand, informant of the FBI. Audrey Barnes, go ahead outside the Pentagon.
Coming in to the Pentagon this morning, identify yourself and tell us what you saw.
My name is Ed Hudson. I was coming to work at the Navy Annex. I was passing by Fort Myer and I saw a large airliner-sized plane, roughly a 767.
But from the intelligence community, FBI, and law enforcement.
Yeah, but the interesting challenge here is that normally when you have something like this, you have an incident. Right now, we apparently may have a series of unfolding incidents or things that may be happening, so you have not only investigative and intelligence work, but are immediately linked when this happens over secure networks. The command centers have all been activated, and they're moving back and forth. This is one thing that will be operating rather smoothly right now with good communications.
Okay, so a lot of discussions obviously going on right now trying to coordinate the response.